Several minutes of commercial-free football starts now. Here are the Purple Mortgage Guys.
Hey, welcome everybody. Another episode of Purple Mortgage Guys. It's been a fun week talking Vikings football here after that amazing victory in Buffalo last week, guys. Still coming down from that high. Got the Cowboys coming up this weekend. I believe the Cowboys are still slight favorites, which I think is a good thing. And kind of mixed results on the media and the general public on buying into the Vikings or still thinking that everything's a fluke. So Goose, Tanner, we'll start with you. What are you looking for this weekend against the Cowboys?
Looking for another W.
You think it's going to happen?
Yeah, I feel good about this game. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. This is going to be our toughest home game this year for sure. I think this is probably an offense that is fairly similar to the Vikings and hasn't met expectations this year. I would say they're actually probably on the lower half of the league when it comes to all-around statistics. They do have a pretty good running game with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, and their pass protection's actually been pretty good without Tyron Smith. But other than that, the receiving game, or passing game, I should say, has struggled mightily this year. So this is a good game to have at home. I'm glad it's in Minnesota. We got the crowd on our side. I do think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be another close one, another shootout. And I like our odds going into this one.
Yeah, I think last week was probably one of our toughest road games after Philadelphia for sure. And then this week, like Tanner said, is probably our, on paper anyway, our toughest home game remaining. That does not mean that I think, and I don't think any of us think that they're going to run the table. I think there's probably inevitably a couple slip-ups, just like every team will probably have here throughout the rest of the regular season. But it does mean we're probably going to be close to or favored in a lot of these games to close out the season, which I think is a pretty sweet spot to be in, especially with the cushion we have on the rest of the NFC North, and then now being tied, losing the tiebreaker, but still tied with Philadelphia for the best record. So Goose, what are your thoughts going into this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's talked about a lot, but I naturally feel like I'm not over the emotions of the Bills game, and so I don't know how they're going to be. But I feel like this staff, this new team culture has kind of silenced all of my worries of the past, and so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I get nervous when I see like they created like a little mini movie of the Bills Vikings game already. Like it was such a game, but I think KOC gets them ready to go, and I think they have enough chip on their shoulder that there's still some doubters that they're not gonna lay an egg. So we'll see. I'm excited. It should be a good game.
I think so too. I think the thing that sticks in the back of all of our minds is the Minneapolis Miracle, and then the next week in Philadelphia, right? And that's kind of inevitable to be able to have to deal with that. But hopefully, like you said, KOC has them in the right state of mind that they don't take anything for granted. And if they can put it together, like you said, it should be an awesome game. So looking forward to it. Yeah, we'll get into that, I guess, a little bit more in our bold predictions here. But one thing we like to do every week, our Tanner's Tidbits session, where you can use Tanner's little stats here or different pieces of info to impress your friends. Tanner, what do you have for us this week going into the Dallas game?
Sorry, I had my mute on there for a second. Got some fun stuff this week. Kirk Cousins is looking to break some nasty streaks. So not a great record against the Cowboys from his Commanders days, obviously, for the most part. He is 2-8 in his career against the Cowboys, including 0-6 in home games. He has never beat the Cowboys at home before. But in those starts, he's averaging 263 yards a game, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 104 quarterback rating, which is good. Those are good numbers. Dak Prescott missed last year's matchup, so this will be the first time facing the Vikings for him in a few years. He's 1-1 in his career against the Vikings, 1-0 in Minnesota. In the two starts he has played, averaging 268 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 104 quarterback rating. The Vikings are 15-18 all time against the Cowboys, including 7-12 at home in Minnesota. They actually have a better record in Dallas, 8-6, than they do at home, which is strange. The Vikings have not beat Dallas since 2010. The last time they beat Dallas, Brett Favre was still playing. Randy Moss was on his second stint with the team. And Tony Romo was the quarterback for the Cowboys. They're 0-3 since.
Interesting.
Anthony Barr and Jaron Kearse are going to have some revenge games this week. We're doing the revenge tour this week against Dallas. Not sure if Anthony Barr is going to play or not. I think he is on the injury report. And last I read, it seemed like it was pretty unlikely. It sounded like he was going to play, but Jaron Kearse is in line to start. He is a starting safety for Dallas. He's having a pretty good year, I think, for the most part, it sounds like. Fun fact, this has nothing to do with this game specifically, but if you haven't seen already, the Vikings will not play outdoors again in 2022. Their next outdoor game will be against Green Bay on New Year's Day. Vikings are the only team in the league that haven't lost a game at home this season. Do you guys know that?
I knew we hadn't lost. I didn't know no other team had done that.
They're the only team that has not lost a game at home yet this year. So I hope to keep that going. Vikings need one more win to pass last year's total with 6 games left to play, or 7 games, I should say. Kirk Cousins needs 42 passing yards this week to pass Ryan Fitzpatrick on the all-time passing list. Needs 185 to pass Jay Cutler. And 1 touchdown pass. I think he's going for his 39th or 40th consecutive game in a row with a touchdown pass this week. Needs 1 touchdown pass to pass Jim Kelly, Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. Justin Jefferson continuing to dominate the league, 4th in catches. 2nd in the league in targets with 100. Only Tyreek Hill has more at 106. He's 2nd in receiving yards with 1,060. Tyreek Hill is the only person leading in that category as well with 1,148 yards. Za'Darius Smith is tied for 2nd in the league with 9.5 sacks. Only Matthew Judon of the Patriots has more with 11.5. The Vikings also lead the league in total pressures, QB pressures, him and Danielle Hunter. Let's see. Za'Darius Smith is also tied with Max Crosby for the league lead in tackles for loss with 14 on the year. Danielle Hunter is tied with a couple guys for 3rd with 10. Adam Thielen needs just 1 receiving yard this week to pass Jake Reed for 4th place on the all-time receiving list for the Vikings. Fun cornerback matchup this week. Patrick Peterson and Trayvon Diggs are tied for 2nd together in the league with pass breakups, each with 12. Only the rookie for the Jets, Sauce Gardner, has more this year with 13. Finishing up with some fun trivia. Once again, I want to see if you guys can name top 5 PFF graded Vikings starters headed into week 11. The goal here is to not get a single one wrong.
Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah, Christian Darrisaw continues to lead a dominant performance. I think he is the number 1 graded lineman in the league, actually.
Yeah.
I think going into this week was just a great problem to have.
It's the only one I saw. I saw that he was the highest rated O lineman in the league.
I would say Justin Jefferson.
JJ bumped up to number 2 after his dominant performance last week in Buffalo.
I think I saw that Za'Darius was graded poorly against the Bills. I'm hoping the rest of the season has been good enough to keep him in the top 5.
Yeah, Za'Darius is number 4. Just 0.2 points below his counterparts. I'll give you guys that one. Danielle Hunter is above
I'd say Brian O'Neill would be the 5th.
He is not.
Pat Pete.
Pat Pete. All right. Hey, we didn't do too bad. If I wasn't here, you would have got them all.
Give me a solid B. That's what I got this week.
All right. Those are your Tanner tidbits. I hope you guys have been using these to impress your friends. A lot of stats there, a lot of knowledge up in Tanner's head there to help with those tidbits. So, guys, we're 1.5 point underdogs at home against Dallas. That little ESPN predictor thing has us at only a 43% chance to win. Over under 47.5.
I'm actually curious. I'm sorry, Brent. I'm going to interrupt you. I am a little surprised. Not that I really care that much. I think I'd rather be underdogs, but I am surprised that we upset arguably the number one team in the league last week on the road. Dallas lost to a team that's under 500, but they're the favorite going into this game. I'm not following. Why do we think that is?
Vegas always wants half the money on one side and half on the other, and I think people bet on the Cowboys heavily. So I think they always have a little bit of an extra push there for some reason. I don't like it if we're ranked number one in the power rankings and we're favored and there's all this hype. Actually, people get upset when they have us like at fourth or fifth, which I think is probably pretty fair. But I hate it when they put us at one just because we have the tied for the best record. I don't know. I think it doesn't matter. It's not college football. It has no bearing on anything. The record and the tiebreakers really are what matters, and wins and losses. So I don't know. I actually like that we're underdogs. I like it if we're not one in the power rankings. That's just my 2 cents. Goose, what do you think on that?
I mean, ESPN's matchup predictor is even more lopsided. They've got Minnesota at 42.9% chance to win, 56.6 for Dallas, and a 0.5 tie, which I agree with you, Brent. I'd much rather be the underdog, but I'm still just looking at it. I'm pretty surprised. Maybe they're looking at Kirk's record against Dallas and saying, chalk it up as a loss. One thing I kind of wanted to comment on, and I just realized it, that JJ has surpassed the 1,000-yard mark against the Bills. And I don't know if you guys remember when the narrative was really strong that we had like one of the longest droughts of having a 1,000-yard receiver from like 2009 to like 2017. To think of JJ being at 1,069 games into the season is just wild how good he is. That was just my random thought as I was seeing that we were at a 42% chance to win.
Yeah, crazy. Well, we might as well get into our bold predictions. We have a guest star here with us today, guys. 8-year-old Griffin, my buddy here. Griffin was through quite a wild ride last Sunday when we were watching the end of that Bills Vikings game. Griffin, did you get picked up a few times off the couch and yelled at?
Yep.
Was it pretty fun though?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite game of all time?
Yeah.
We were talking about, guys, last week before that game about whatever game he thought was like the best sports moment of his life. And up until that point, he had the Carolina walk-off touchdown by who scored it last year? KJ Osborne last year. He thought that was his highlight. Now it's been surpassed, of course. So thought that was pretty cool. But
love it.
We're going to get into some bold predictions. Griffin's pretty excited about this because he's not a Cowboys fan at all. And he wanted to jump on and start us off with some bold predictions. So those of you that have listened before, you know the game. By the way, if you want to throw a score prediction in the comments on our YouTube channel, subscribe, pick the score. If you get it exactly right, your name's in a drawing for a couple of Jets tickets against the Vikings on December 4th. Compliments the Purple Mortgage guys. And so far, we do not have anyone that's nailed it and is in the drawing. So if you get it right, you could easily be the winner. But make sure to do that before kickoff. And we're going to throw out a few bold predictions here ourselves. We're going to go a bold prediction of something we think that's going to happen. And then we're each going to pick the final score. And Griffin, you're going to be included here this week as well. So Griffin, why don't you start us off? We're looking for a bold prediction of something you think is going to happen during the game on Sunday against the Cowboys.
Okay.
What is your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is that Harrison Smith is going to have a pick six, and so is Cam Bynum.
2 pick sixes against the Cowboys. That is quite something. Did you also said you had one other thing that you thought might happen, kind of a second prediction, which is what your dad typically does too. Then you get more chances to get it right. So what's your other thing you think might happen?
TJ Hawkinson's going to score a touchdown.
Okay, that would be his first Vikings touchdown, guys. So that would be pretty cool as well. So those are definitely bold. Might be a little bit reckless on the 2 pick sixes, but Tanner's shaking his head like
We like that.
We like that a lot. Yes. Tanner, why don't you go next? What do you got on a bold prediction?
My bold prediction for this week is that Dalvin Cook is going to have his season high rushing total against the Cowboys. He beat that last week with 119 rushing yards. I'm going to say he's going to surpass that this week against Dallas's 29th ranked rush defense.
What's his season high so far?
119.
So he's going to have 120 or more?
120 or more this week against
rushing yards, not all purpose. That's
Rushing
what Goose
yards.
would say. Okay, just rushing.
Rushing
All
yards.
right. You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like that.
Goose, what do you got for us?
I'm really pulling for Tanner on that one because I've got my season prediction of Delvin with 1,750 all-purpose yards, and that would go a long way towards that prediction. Not gonna lie, I was leaning Hawk and Delvin, so I'm kind of got my toes stepped on a little bit here. I'm gonna go. I'll stick to it because I was going to be a little bit more specific. I think TJ Hawkinson in his second matchup against the Cowboys this year, first one wasn't great, is going to have 75 yards and a touchdown for his Vikings first Viking touchdown this year.
So you're one-upping the 8-year-old here, Griffin.
Well, he's got, I mean, those pick sixes really has outdone me, so
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm one-upping him.
Maybe all of this can happen, guys. That would
Yes.
be the ultimate put it together game. Mine is going to be a little bit different. I am going to say that we will see Cooper Rush in the game at some point, taking at least one snap. There's a lot of ways that could happen. He could get pulled, Dak could get pulled just for playing poor. There could be an injury. It could be mop-up time at the end. But I think Cooper Rush is in there for at least one snap. And if we remember last Halloween, that was not necessarily a good thing, but I'm going to say Cooper's back in the game. It's my bold prediction. Griffin, we also do predictions on score. I know you've had this one in your mind here for a few weeks, but you've got 2 pick sixes for a touchdown. You've got Hawkinson with a touchdown. So that's 3 right there. Is Greg Joseph going to make his extra points this week?
Yep.
He is. Okay. So what's the final score going to be? We have to know.
Final score is 35-21.
Who's going to win?
Vikings.
Okay. I like it. It's a
Mhm.
pretty big blowout. So that's 5 touchdowns and 5 extra points.
Yep.
All right. We'll take it.
I like it.
Tanner, what do you got for a final score?
I got 23-17 Vikings this week.
20
And end that streak against Dallas.
Goose?
Against my better wishes, I was really thinking I was going to predict a loss here. But like I said, I think they've deserved my confidence until they prove me otherwise. I'm going 27-17 Vikings.
27-17 Vikings. All right. Guys, I think this could easily be one of those games where you're coming off a high and it doesn't go well, but I'm with you, Goose. I don't think I can pick against this team going forward. The odds are I'm going to be wrong if I do. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go the other end of the spectrum and say we actually put together a very explosive all-around game. We forced Dallas into some mistakes. And we're actually going to win by 10 points or more. 33-23 Vikings, and Cooper Rush is in there at some point as well. So I think it's going to be that game we've been waiting for, where they put it all together. 33 points for the second week in a row. Purple.
Is that a couple missed extra points or a lot of field goals?
There's probably an extra point missed and a few field goals. Yeah. I mean, we got to keep it interesting, right? We can't have the perfect game.
Yeah.
Well, we also like to say things go wrong. What are we complaining about Monday? If they go wrong this week, guys, it's going to be a long drive home. It's going to be a long Monday. If things go wrong.
You can just leave Minneapolis if they lose.
What are we going to be complaining about?
So for me, I think the same narrative is on every Vikings fan looking back to the 2018 playoffs. after we had that amazing high against the Saints and Diggs' walk-off touchdown, and then going to Philly and falling flat on our faces because we didn't come down from that high. So the Bills game was amazing. It was a lot of fun to watch, but they need to come down from that high and get back to work this week. I am super glad that this is in Minnesota and we're not going to Dallas coming down from a high. But I'm going to say, if I am complaining Monday, it's probably going to be because this team came out flat and didn't play their best.
Just flat, all around flat. Okay.
All around. Get down early, have to play catch up, and end up losing by like 10 plus. That would really hurt my feelings.
That would be bad. You don't like that, do you?
No.
Goose, what do you think?
I think if I'm complaining that they didn't get Dalvin Cook involved enough. They didn't give him enough touches. And
I feel like if I'm thinking what's going to happen, it's that Dallas scores a ton of points. So I think our defense looks a little bit exposed. Obviously, it goes all around to being flat, like Tanner said, too, on offense. But I think it's a high-scoring game if we lose. So that's what I see. Griffin, I don't know, can you picture us losing, or you think we're going to win?
I think we're going to win.
So there's nothing to be upset about then, I guess. So.
Did you see that the Vikings are second in the league in takeaways?
I saw that.
Pretty impressive.
Any closing thoughts, guys, on the game for Sunday?
For me, I'm super excited to see Justin Jefferson against Trayvon Diggs. I feel like Trayvon Diggs kind of has a big mouth. He's running his mouth before the year. Didn't even put Justin Jefferson in his top 5 receivers, and he's going to eat those. He's going to eat those words this week.
Little double move. He'll jump it. And I didn't even think about that. We had Diggs last week and Diggs this week. So,
yeah.
All right, guys, there you had it. Another episode of Purple Mortgage, guys. Looking forward to this week's Sunday, 3:25, America's Game of the Week. We got Jim Nance and Tony Romo on the call on CBS. So looking forward to it. Should be a fun one. We'll come back again on Monday and recap the weekend's events. So have a great weekend, everybody.
3 words for you. You like that?